unhinging it with enough force to climb his way out of their mouth, leaving them dead, their body completely mangled.
Okay, this Waldo dude's crazy. This boy crazy with it, man. Okay, this is a creepy SCP. Yo, are you kidding me? I thought they were just trying to make a catchy thumbnail, but yo.
Later, in the void.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And in today's episode, it looks like we have an interesting one on our hands, guys. This is SCP-4885. Find him. Waldo finds you. So I feel like it's the reverse. You know, they just flipped a reverse Uno card on us with the where's Waldo, and he's going to be looking for us instead of the other way around. This could be kind of cool because it could do a lot of things with this SCP. The thumbnail obviously looks pretty creepy. Let's see if it's that kind of SCP, but no matter what, I'm sure it'll be a great animation. So with that being said, if you guys are excited for this reaction, please remember to smash that like button. Also smash the sub button, join the family, and hit that bell so you can stay plugged for each and every upload. And remember, YouTube doesn't always notify you when I post content, so it behooves you to stay plugged by hitting that bell. So remember to do your own due diligence and smash that for me. So with that all out the way, there's nothing left to be said. Let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-4885. Find him. Waldo finds you.
There is a dangerous creature that could be anywhere in the world, hiding in plain sight, casually walking through crowded streets filled with people. A monster that is nearly impossible to see, blending into its surroundings almost perfectly.
Okay.
Not invisible, unnoticeable, almost completely undetectable.
What the heck?
But then you spot a familiar outfit in a crowd. You now know where the creature is, but it goes both ways. Since the moment you find it, it knows where you are. There is now not a single place on the earth that you could hide where it wouldn't find you. And it won't ever stop looking. To the staff at the Foundation, this...
Bro. This is giving me a lot of Shy Guy vibes. You know, obviously when you look at Shy Guy, he could hunt you no matter where you're at in the world and he will kill you. It's pretty similar. Very, very similar. I wonder if you guys caught that. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys did.
Creature is known as SCP-4885. But you and I know him by a different name. You may have seen his face hundreds of times, or stared for hours at a page trying to catch a glimpse of him. To us, he's Waldo. While this might feel like a very long-winded and silly joke, maybe even a prank that has been inserted into the SCP...
I actually never seen them laugh before. That was kind of interesting. I want to hear that one more time. It's the little things, guys, that get you in life.
While this might feel like a very long-winded and silly joke, maybe even a prank that has been inserted into the SCP archives, it is anything but. If you grew up any time after the late 1980s, then you will likely be familiar with the Where's Waldo books. But for the uninitiated, there are a series of puzzle books created by illustrator Martin Hanford. Each book in the Where's Waldo line contains multiple double-page spreads of colorful, crowded scenes. The goal is for readers to spot the ever-elusive titular character, Waldo, who is hidden among the mass of other characters. Waldo himself is easily recognized, thanks to a design that has become truly iconic over the years.
Sure.
He is always depicted as wearing a red and white striped shirt, with a bobble hat in matching colors. Waldo also sports jeans, circular-rimmed glasses, and sometimes a wooden walking stick. So with that important context out of the way up front, what exactly is SCP-4885? Is the character from these children's books somehow brought to life? Has the character of Waldo always been a malicious, malevolent entity too powerful to be contained within his own books? Well, not exactly. SCP-4885 only seems to resemble the famous children's book character. Whether or not he is the living manifestation of Waldo in the real world is both unclear and up for debate.
Yeah, so there's probably no correlation besides his appearance. That's what they're trying to say. Interesting. I hope he actually kills the people when he actually finds whoever finds him in the book.
Examining its outward appearance, SCP-4885 does share the humanoid shape and looks to be wearing the same recognizable clothing of Waldo. There are, however, two notable bodily dissimilarities between the Waldo on the page and the physical form of SCP-4885.
That dude's creepy smile?
For one, this Waldo appears to be much paler to the one found in the book series. More noticeably, however, is the fact despite wearing the same circular glasses, SCP-4885 seems to have no eyes. Should a person learn of SCP-4885's current location, Waldo will simultaneously gain an awareness of this person. Learning instantly of their victim's location, SCP-4885 will traverse any space necessary, tracking their target down to anywhere they might be in the world.
So basically, Shy Guy is pretty much Shy Guy right now. And also, are they just talking about the location of the SCP itself, or like the Where's Waldo book? Because if it's just like the SCP, how would just a random person know exactly where he's at? Like, for real. Like, I figured, like, from the book, if you happen to see him from a certain book, he might know where you're at now, and then he could find and kill you. But, like, who would just think about where this SCP randomly will be at? That's weird. I hope they explain that.
The creature has displayed a number of space-altering abilities, including teleportation. SCP-4885 can also alter the state of his own matter, allowing Waldo to phase through solid surfaces. No obstacle can stop his advance.
Pretty much
Not
better than
walls,
Shy Guy.
Not buildings, not even his victim's own body. When SCP-4885 finally reaches the person who has learned of his location, Waldo will then proceed to murder them in an exceptionally excruciating manner. Using his matter-changing abilities, he will teleport or phase himself inside his victim, pulling himself through their body and destroying their internal organs. After causing catastrophic bodily damage, SCP-4885 will then wrench their victim's jaw open, unhinging it with enough force to climb his way out of their mouth, leaving them dead, their body completely mangled.
Okay, this Waldo dude's crazy. This boy crazy with it, man. Like, okay, this is a creepy SCP. Yo, are you kidding me? I thought they were just trying to make a catchy thumbnail, but yo, this dude's handling all his victims like this? Creepy, but damn, man, he is creative. Whoa, like, yo.
However, this isn't even the final stage of Waldo's attack.
Oh?
There is a strange byproduct left after a fatal encounter with SCP-4885. A yellow liquid that is produced as Waldo exits his victim's body. When this substance comes into contact with the deceased person's skin, it triggers a bizarre change. The liquid will cause their bodies to change after death, their skin becoming covered in symbols. On closer inspection, it becomes clear that these symbols are illustrations
from Where's Waldo,
exactly like the ones found in the pages of Where's Waldo. These corpses, referred to by the Foundation as instances of SCP-4885-1, will then start to act in a similar manner to SCP-4885, and anyone who sees one or learns of its location will cause Waldo to come looking for them. The Where's Waldo scenes left on a deceased victim's skin cannot be washed off or otherwise removed, and the only way to undo an instance of SCP-4885-1 is to skin an infected body after death. However, this creates a whole new problem.
Oh my god.
If someone was to attempt this, in doing so they would know the location of one of Waldo's victims. This knowledge would mean that whomever was trying to skin one of these bodies would themselves become Waldo's next target, and would likely end up just another instance of SCP-4885-1.
How? He doesn't know where Waldo's at, though. How would he actually be a victim just because he's dealing with a previous victim that Waldo killed? I need to hear that again. That doesn't make sense. Give me one
location
second.
Of one of Waldo's victims.
Hold on.
For this creates a whole new problem. If someone was to attempt this, in doing so they would know the location of one of Waldo's victims.
Yeah, location of one of Waldo's victims, okay?
This knowledge would mean that whomever was trying to skin one of these bodies would themselves become Waldo's next target, and would likely end up just another instance of SCP-4885-1.
So he becomes a target, but that doesn't mean that dude found out where Waldo's at. And that's the only way that, he could be a target, right? They say whoever knows where Waldo's at, he will kill them. Unless he's just like getting easy targets because he knows where this victim's at. He could easily just go kill this one. Maybe he doesn't have to abide by his own rules. Like he needs to see someone to see him first to kill. Like the rule where the other person needs to know where he's at to kill. Maybe he could just kill if, he gets lucky and someone's dealing with the previous victim. If that's the case, it'll make sense. But with these animations, I know they don't cover everything exactly the way it is in the file. It's just something I'm bringing up,
In other words, it would be an exercise in futility. Naturally, the nature of his abilities and attack patterns make it difficult for the SCP Foundation to contain Waldo. SCP-4885 cannot be harmed through the use of firearms or other common conventional weapons at the Foundation's disposal.
Wow.
You might be forgiven for thinking that making a handful of people aware of where to find Waldo at the same time would be a viable solution. After all, he cannot be in multiple places at once, so perhaps he'd be unable to kill these individuals simultaneously. However, SCP-4885 has shown to be able to cope with this approach, dispatching his victims one at a time, transforming each in turn into Where's Waldo printed corpses before continuing to the next would-be.
This SCP is deadly.
If the victim is nearby, Waldo will force himself into their mouth, passing through their body and destroying bones, organs, and even the spinal column. When his victim is further away, Waldo will phase through the nearest wall and attack them, teleporting into his target and then climbing out of their mouth. Waldo's location, or that of his victims' bodies, are considered info hazards. Simply being aware of this information will cause SCP-4885 to activate. As a result of this, the staff at the
Okay, so I guess that's another version of his activation to kill someone. Being aware about his past victims, plus if you know exactly where he's at in that moment in time. Okay, that is making sense.
SCP Foundation are not even sure that Waldo is actually contained at all. In theory, SCP-4885 is being held at an undisclosed Foundation site in a non-designed containment chamber, since even a number on the door would tip off what's inside, triggering Waldo's abilities. But here's the clincher, because nobody can know for sure where Waldo is without him coming for them. Nobody at the Foundation actually knows where he's being contained, if he's even contained.
Oh my god.
It is worth noting that, if someone receives a vague, non-specific description of Waldo's whereabouts, that he will make no attempt to seek them out. If he is contained, and if he was to ever breach containment, then the SCP Foundation has an entire set of procedures in place to ensure that no one ever finds Waldo. First, 36 containment chambers, identical to the one SCP-4885 is supposedly held in, are connected to a self-driving vehicle. An expendable D-Class personnel member is placed into the vehicle, and a random number generator will select a number from 1 to 36. The self-driving vehicle will then arrive at the containment chamber chosen at random, and the D-Class placed inside. Within each chamber are digital monitors, and once the D-Class is inside the chamber, all of these monitors will display the current location of SCP-4885. The Foundation has kept a GPS tracking device implanted within Waldo, but this information is normally kept secret to avoid any containment breaches. The D-Class essentially acts as bait for Waldo, forcibly given the knowledge of his location so that SCP-4885 will consider them a target. As part of the next phase of containment, Foundation staff will wait, giving Waldo enough time to arrive in the containment chamber and dispatch the D-Class within. After this, all of the 36 containment chambers are transported to random Foundation sites in disguised trucks, so that no one is sure where SCP-4885 ends up.
Wow.
Every time SCP-4885 breaches containment, the entire procedure has to be repeated. The Foundation first encountered SCP-4885 a number of years ago, inside a small wooden house, the exact location of which has since been expunged from all the SCP Foundation's records. While on assignment to secure an entirely different anomaly, the Foundation's Mobile Task Force Chi-19, also codenamed Unrelenting Punishment, were the first to discover Waldo. The three-person unit consisted of Foundation operatives named Amelia Merrick, James Klein, and Kurt Stahl.
What SCP were they looking for?
The trio cautiously entered the wooden house where they were meant to investigate reports of an anomalous inanimate object, a pair of black spectacles. According to initial intelligence gathered by the SCP Foundation, these glasses were capable of killing anyone that tried to wear them, leaving their body covered in pictures like those found in the children's book. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is unknown if these black spectacles are the same eyewear worn by SCP-4885, but it doesn't seem like too far of a leap to assume that these glasses were capable of killing anyone that tried to wear them, leaving their body covered in pictures like those found in the children's book. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? It is unknown if these black spectacles are the same eyewear worn by SCP-4885.
It probably is.
But it doesn't seem like too far of a leap to assume that this may well have been the case.
Yeah, just imagine it. Like, if you put the glasses on, you're going to be, you know, where's Waldo? And if you wear it long enough, you might turn into the Waldo character. Obviously. And the victims, that's why it spits out that yellow liquid that has those, you know, the graphic design from the Where's Waldo books. Like, yo. Wow. I didn't think about that. This SCP is way cooler than I thought. This is dope.
Searching the ground floor, the team had found no sign of the object they had been sent to recover. As Amelia, Kurt, and James made their way upstairs, something began making scraping sounds beneath them, but none of them noticed. In an abandoned bedroom on the upstairs floor of the house, Kurt spotted a drawing on the wall, which looked to have been made using crayons. He took a photo of the illustration, and this image is still kept in the Foundation's database. It appears to be a child's drawing, depicting SCP-4885 wearing his signature striped shirt and hat, with empty, vacant eyes. Next to it was scrawled one simple phrase: Waldo found Mommy. Continuing their way to the house, the team located the glasses they were looking for in an upstairs bathroom.
Okay.
However, as James bagged up the spectacles, ready for transport back to the Foundation, Kurt spotted another inscription on a nearby wall, one that the team were certain hadn't been there when they had arrived.
Let's see it.
James stepped in to translate using the Foundation's standard issue translation device. The phrase on the wall read, "The basement. The corpses from a child's book are in the basement. He is there too, friend, and we're sure that you can already guess what happened after that." Immediately after reading these words, James began to groan and clutched at his stomach, showing signs of extreme pain.
Waldo's in
Before
him.
Amelia or Kurt had any chance to figure out what was happening to their squad mate, fingers began protruding from James's mouth. They gripped his jaw and pulled it apart with enough force to send his jawbone flying across the room.
Guys, we need Dr. Bob to take over this SCP, man. I'm just being honest. Yo, if he does an animation for this SCP, I know for sure it's going to be juicy. Just seeing the way that Waldo's killing these people in animation form. I know this one's not as gruesome as like Dr. Bob. That's why I feel like Dr. Bob would be the best for SCPs such as this. Yo, if you're watching this, Dr. Bob, I doubt you are, but if you are, please take this over, man. Please, please, make my day. Make my day.
SCP-4885 climbed its way out of James's body, and Amelia and Kurt both opened fire on the creature. Waldo did not react, seemingly unfazed by the gunfire and sustaining no damage as he approached Amelia, who would be his next victim. Shoving his fingers into her throat, Waldo wrenched apart Amelia's jaw, breaking it before he clawed his way into her mouth. As he watched in horror,
this boy just cannonballed in her mouth like... Whoa, this is too funny.
Waldo had already dispatched both James and Amelia, and now Kurt was about to pay the same terrible price.
Oh, God.
Ever since this incident, the Foundation believes that they have SCP-4885 contained.
Let's hope so.
When its file was created, their researchers created an automated algorithm designed to wipe away any mention of SCP-4885's current location or the house he was discovered in from Foundation records. With SCP-4885 now assumed to be contained, that only leaves one question. The same burning inquiry that's been plaguing man for decades. Where's Waldo? In this case, maybe it's safer if you didn't know.
Yeah, please.
Now check out the Lost SCP,
Okay.
SCP...
I already checked that one out. But guys, this was great. I didn't expect a SCP that would be this fun to watch and more creative. I know it's similar to Shy Guy, but I like the part where it talks about the glasses could be a SCP in its own right, and maybe the Waldo is a victim of the glasses. Who knows, man? But yo, This is great. I'm definitely going to read the file after this one. But yo, if you guys enjoyed this reaction, please remember to smash that like button for me. Also smash the sub button as well. If you are not part of the family, obviously, if you're part of it, you already know how we rock. All gas, no brakes. Let's get it together. But if you are window shopping still, just make the purchase, man. It's free. Come on, join the family. So with that being said, man, unfortunately, that is the reaction today. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one.